to period 3's production of the drama, The Chamber of Horrors.
These inhumane monsters are so lifelike. You might just think they'll reach out to grab you.
But aren't they?
Dead?
Well, they're dead, all right. Lots out of that.
But we can never be too sure about the spirit, can we? Has it gone to the next world, or does it hover in your mind, waiting and suspecting?
You're scaring me on my wits, Meghan.
We're like cowards for the room themselves.
We won't touch anything.
Oh, it's not you I'm worried about, it's them.
What are you talking about?
If someone comes to harm you,
It was a cold night, just days after over 2 years ago. At the time, I had a woman, Nellie, coming to me at night.
There wasn't anything that frightened Nellie. She'd been a field nurse in the Civil War, and then a nurse at Bellevue.
That was the asylum.
Same. So Nellie had seen it all.
This room didn't faze her until that night, that cold, rainy night.
Nellie came in with her feather duster to dust off the figures, but after doing the first, she felt a hand descend on her shoulder. Being Nellie, she shook it off. But then she turned around. The figure of Murray Shackleton was right behind her. Somehow, he stepped out of his exhibit and onto this floor. That very spot is where he stood.
Oh dear. Even that, however, didn't bother Nellie. It was Nina the champ who did that. Nellie moved to the exhibit in the corner, the poisoner, Nina the champ. As she dusted the table in cups, Nina smiled.
Then she said, clear as a bell. Care for a cup of tea, Nellie?
Nellie screamed and ran from the room and hasn't been seen since. I still have her last paycheck locked in the safe, if she ever returns.
But she won't. No, she won't.
I'm afraid Nellie's long gone. Very long gone.
You three are full of it.
How do you know it isn't all true, sir?
Wax figures coming to life? Ridiculous.
Perhaps the truth about these criminals will set your mind at ease.
Well, I'm Edna Gruber. I'm a reporter for the New York Herald.
that's my papers. Excellent paper. Usually.
We always seek the truth.
Is that why you're here? To seek the truth?
Well, Madame Alexandra's Wax Museum is one of the most popular attractions in New York. The public has a right to know what truth lies behind it. You know, they let us buy.
Oh, it's quite all right. We have nothing to hide.
Well, your room's filled with kings and queens and all the presidents and great scenes from American history are all very nice to them and accurate. But now you've begun to tell tall tales. We have not.
Okay, well, maybe if I tell you about these criminals, they'll calm you down a bit.
Fair enough. Shoot.
Laura Shackleton, a 29-year-old Brooklyn, Hughes half-brother made him the beneficiary of a $5,000 insurance policy. Loris also knew that the policy paid double for an accidental death.
Norris' half-brother had been planning a trip from New York City to Syracuse for weeks. He will leave from Grand Central Station on Friday, December 18th. Norris knew the train would pass over a high bridge in Western New York State. So he set dynamite at the base of the bridge and waited for the train. When the train was halfway across, he pushed the detonator,
And the bridge exploded, carrying down the train with it.
68 people died.
But unbeknownst to Shackleton, his half-brother had missed the train. When he tried to collect the insurance that morning, he was caught. David Trumbull wasn't much luckier. Her employer paid a large street bank, Mr. Baker, noticed some irregularities in the books.
Someone had been investing small amounts of money, which had begun to add to my stock. Mr. Baker trusted his head teller, Dana Trumbull, enough to caution her to watch the other tellers to see if she could catch her from stealing. That trust had Mr. Baker's own death warrant.
One night, Trumbull hid in the store after all the other employees had gone home. She knew that Mr. Baker always stood later than everyone else to close up.
Trumbull snuck out of her hiding place and grabbed a fireplace cooker so she could silence Mr. Baker. She stole into Baker's office, sneaking up behind the poor man. She struck quickly and was about to make her escape when she heard a knock on the door. Deciding she would simply tell who it was that the bank was closed, Trumbull opened the door. To her surprise, the police stood before her. Mr. Baker called us a few minutes ago to report a robbery. They said as they pushed their way into the bank.
You can read the rest of the story in the court order of Trumbull's trial.
She found out crime doesn't pay. As in Nina the champ, poisoned her.
Nina was a dull girl, never successful at school, and even less successful at any job she attempted. She tried working as a maid, but broke so many house items, she was fired. She took in wash, but ruined more clothes than she took in. She even tried working as a milliner, but her hats were so full of pins, they stabbed ladies who tried them on.
Gracious, sounds like a sister-in-law of mine.
I bet she couldn't sew a straight stitch.
Your talents lay elsewhere. Let's hope she'll be good at drawing with her.
She tried, but she burnt everything she put on the stove.
So what was the poor woman to do to make a living?
She was at her wit's end when she came across her advertisement in the newspaper.
Wanted, kind-hearted companion to do loud housework and keep company.
So Nina had found what she could do with her life. She would do Mrs. Darcy, a rich old lady who lived all alone. Nina took care of Mrs. Darcy until the old woman's demands became so frequent, Nina just couldn't keep up.
It was then Nina decided to turn all those lemons into lemonade.
Since Mrs. Darcy was sickly and never went out, Nina stole the old woman's jewelry and sold it. She then took money from the safe and finally decided to forge her name on the old woman's will.
Then, a strong dose of arsenic sent Mrs. Darcy to her grave.
And the doctors blamed it all on gastrointestinalitis.
Then came a Mrs. Harvey, a Mrs. Kramer, and a Mrs. Hudson.
Here we see Nina preparing spotted tea for her last intended victim, Mrs. Eversole.
Mrs. Eversole was the widow of a railroad magnate, J.J. Eversole. She confided in one of her friends shortly before she died, but she didn't think Nina had her best interests at heart.
In fact, she suspected Nina was poisoning her.
The friend contacted the police.
Who dropped in for tea one day just as Nina was about to give poor Mrs. Eversole a final dose.
A quick test of tea confirmed Mrs. Eversole's suspicions, and Nina was led away in shackles.
So let that be a lesson to you.
My Alexander, how awful.
Nearly scared us half to death.
These are supposed to be wax figures.
I would have been glad the champion would have the way.
Mrs. Eversole likes to come down to the museum sometimes and play herself.
I love to hear the visitors scream.
And now something else I forget.
That's the whole point. Don't forget that crime doesn't pay. You'll always be caught, just like that fellow there.
That's Artemis Kane, isn't it?
The same
It hasn't been 3 years since he put that bank bar.
3 years, 2 months, 14 days.
Such a random village.
Kane was a lowlife, always in the scrape for the law, always in and out of prison.
He thought the world owed him a living, so he took great pains to enjoy the finer things in life.
He eventually became a bank robber, and on October 31st, 1887, robbed the Merchants Bank in New York City.
In doing so, he shot and killed the guard.
He escaped with over $10,000.
How did he get caught?
He was betrayed.
Someone turned him in.
Not just someone, his partner.
That's just a guess. No one knows for sure.
I think it's true. There's no honor among thieves.
Indeed. Kane worked with another individual who, wearing a disguise, entered the bank first. That individual created a diversion, usually acting sick. While the guards were tending to the decoy, Kane approached the teller and demanded the money. Before the guard would even find out, the decoy was gone, and Kane had escaped from the back door shortly after.
On the day of Kate's robbery, the decoy was disguised as an old woman wearing glasses. She complained of her dizzy face.
The suspicious guard helped him to the back, where he locked him in. He then returned to the front gate and was shot.
What happened to the old woman?
By the time anyone remembered her, they found she had escaped through a window in the locked room.
That night, an anonymous tip told the police where Kane was hiding out.
But the $10,000 was never found.
Where was the partner?
So much for your theory about crime. Sounds like it paid off pretty well for the partner. Not if any of these spirits say anything to say about it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes your tour of Madame Alexandria Responses. If you care to step this way, I can show it to the outside.
Very stimulating, Madam Alexandria.
We're recommended to our friends.
And you'll be adding more fun.
Every month, fortunately for the Chamber of Horrors, there's never a shortage of crime.
Oh, you horrible monsters, you wicked villains, murderers, thieves, fools, and you. You're the biggest fool of them all. What's this? Who's here? Is anyone here?
Is everyone at the museum?
Just one moment, madame.
Locking up for the night.
Just one moment, madame. Wait, madame, wait. If that's the way she wants to be, let's have something here, little get me out. What's this? Must be a draft. It's got to be a draft. Who's laughing? Stop that, you fool!
There's only one fool here.
Who's there?
Shucks, it's his name.
What? You're...
Not forgotten, eh?
I must be sick. I'm hallucinating.
She says she's hallucinating.
That's a fine trick. Maybe the poor baby is. We should check her temperature. No! Get away from me. This is all some kind of perverse joke. You're actors, that's what you are. Actors paid to play a part. Madame Alexandra's little joke. Just like that other woman. Mrs. Eversole. I can get my hands on her.
Quiet, Nina. You know better than that.
Mustn't speak anything but the good of the living. Oh, that's good. Very good. You're all delightful. Madame, all right, the joke's over. I think it's very funny. I'm happy, you hear me? I'm amused. Amused to death. I wouldn't go that far. madame, if you'll kindly unlock the door.
She's gone for the night, Gruber.
I see you know my name. Artemis told us. Oh yes, my good friend. A very good likeness. They even duplicated that little scar by your right ear. And your eyes from the same dim-witted bulb they were when you were alive. You betrayed me! What? No, this has gone too far. Madame, you see through my disguise. Let me out now or I'll call the police. Oh, you're very good at that. What are you talking about? Calling the police. You called the police on me. I didn't call the police on anyone. I'm your actress. You're just trying to play a joke or some type of trap you think I'm stupid enough to fall into.
Oh, you're not stupid, Gruber. I'll say that for you.
I don't need your compliments.
Maybe Gruber was your idea, see? She's done lots of things. Notice that they usually only have one guard on. If that guard would get distracted, that would tell her who's vulnerable. Is that how you put it, Gruber? Vulnerable?
I don't know what you mean.
Vulnerable.
Open to attack, likely to be wounded.
A sitting duck, eh?
Look, I know Madame Alexandra paid you for some reason to play these cards. So why don't I just pay you? They won't, you know, go home.
What's this? Glasses. How interesting.
Attention glasses just a short while ago. Used by the decoy in my last job.
Here's the money, lots of it. I'll pay you.
That's where the $10,000 went.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, why would you even listen to me in the first place?
You fell for her little joke? She told me to hide the money in the coal bin before I went up to my room. I never should have listened to her.
Fell for that.
I trusted my partner.
She got caught, she got caught.
It doesn't seem quite fair.
After all, practice is paid for any time. Tea, Miss Gruber? No, get away from me. When I get out of here, I'll have you all thrown in jail for menacing, for criminal mischief.
We've already been trying to punish for our crimes, Gruber.
You're the one that face the jury of your peers.
Which brings us to the police.
You, Edna Gruber, stand before this court of justice, sentenced with the following crimes:
Grand theft, aggravated assault,
murder, and betrayal. How does the person plead?
You won't get me to admit anything.
Let the record show that the prisoner enters plea of not guilty.
You know, you even got his inflections right, and your facial expressions. I don't know how you manage.
Witnesses for the prosecution.
The defendant was seen at the merchant's bank disguised as an old lady wearing glasses. She acted dizzy and fainted, luring the guard into the back room.
With the guard concealed in disguise, went back to the lobby to the front gate. Well, I ordered the teller to give me every large denomination bill she had.
Madame, all right, let me out now.
At which time you shot him. I murdered and so are you.
You're crazy. I don't know what you mean.
How say you, jury?
Guilty. Guilty. This is nonsense.
Guilty.
All right, so I'm guilty. What's a ragtag troupe of no account actors gonna do about it anyway? All right, Madame, you win. I'm guilty. Guilty, guilty. So what are you all gonna do about it?
Consequence of dire crimes in themselves. Dire.
Is that so?
We have forfeited all freedom, forever.
Principal exhibits in the chamber horde never ends. We're tortured by our wheels.
And through impossible stairs of the living. Welcome to the club, Miss Gruber.
You know, for a moment there, you almost had me convinced. But you're nothing but flesh and blood actors. The game's over. Hear me? It's over. Let me pass. Let me pass.
What's wrong, Gruber?
They haven't hurt you.
Yeah. Your hands, they're ice cold and made of wax. Your hands are made of wax.
It's just so hard to get to the living.
Crime doesn't pay.
And finally this morning, we welcome you to our Chamber of Horrors.
Oh my, that gave me a start.
A real scream of terror.
Emily, what's wrong?
Artemis King and partner Edna Gruber, who masterminded 18 bank robberies in New York City.
Eventually betrayed by their own greed and heinous violence.
I've heard of this fellow. I followed the trial, but I didn't know they called a partner.
Right up to date, Madam Alexandria. I'm sure the public appreciates that.
Mother, she was a reporter.
Yes, I wondered why she'd really come yesterday.
But what's nothing but wax now?
A very fine likeness.
So she was the partner?
She must have taught herself Indian justice. She was a fool.
Fool or not, she got away with it.
Did she? She won't have much use for this in the Chamber of Horrors, will she?
That must be the bank's money.
Who says there's no honor among thieves?